Hi guys, so today I'm going to be filming a university Q&A. I ask for questions on Instagram as I always do, so if you're not following me on there, I am jdrmakeup over on there and all of my social media. So if you want to get involved in the next Q&A that I do, make sure to go and follow me on there so you can see when I post a little picture asking for questions. But I'm going to be filming a university Q&A. These are my favourite videos to film, and it seems like they're some of your guys' favourite videos to watch too. So I'm really excited to be doing this today. I've actually tried to film this video 3 times now. This will be the 3rd time. And each time either the lighting hasn't been right or the battery's cut out on my camera, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this time it'll work. The first question I'm going to answer is, do you need to bring much stationery, or what are the most needed things to bring, etc.? Do you need much stationery? You don't need much, you just need as much as you want to use. I think, like, I am a real stationery addict. I love having things organised. I love drawing in different pens and like making notes in different pens and everything. I'm a bit OTT in that aspect. Like this evening, my plan is to go to Tesco to get some stationery. That is the extent of my evening, and I'm 20. So I do like some stationery, but normally if you just wanted to turn up to lectures with a pad and 1 pen, you'd be absolutely fine. Some people don't even take notes in lectures. Like, honestly, you don't need loads and loads of stationery at all. And most essential things I'd say is a good notepad. I like a notepad with a good paper, like with thick, nice paper in it. But a good notepad, like an A4 like refill pad or a Pooka pad or anything like that. Like a good size, some pens. I like a highlighter or a colourful pen just to like underline things. I personally as well use folders, so I organise my notes in folders as well, like after I've gone into lectures and stuff like that. So they're also quite helpful as well. Loads of things like that really, but you don't need tons and tons of stuff. Someone asked, how do you balance a good social life with staying on top of your work? Personally, the past 2 years I have been in first year. If you didn't already know this, I have done first year twice now, because I've done first year on one course and then I changed course and did first year on another course. So I've done first year twice, and so my workload really hasn't been that high. So I haven't found it that difficult to manage a social life with the like uni workload. However, one thing is YouTube. I put a lot of time and effort into my YouTube channel, and there is times where I will just be filming and then do work, or filming and work and then eat, and just not really have much of a social life. I think it's really just good to plan things. And one thing that I will mention, a lot of you have asked, is what's the difference between living in halls in first year and then moving into a house in second year, which I did last year. And for me, last year just wasn't great because I didn't feel like I made the most of last year. I didn't feel like I did enough. Like, me and my friends in the house, like, just never organised enough. Like, in first year you had to organise things to go and see each other because you didn't live together. So I'd live with my flatmates and then we'd organise to see each other. Like, we'd go, oh, should we go out for drinks, or should we go shopping, or should we do this, or should we do that, or anything like that. Whereas this year, like when we lived together, or last year when we lived together, it was more difficult because we were kind of just in the house together, so nobody really suggested anything, and it was all of our faults really together, but it kind of made our friendship not so great, and then it also made the situation of not really having that much of a social life not great either. So it's one thing I really would recommend, is just planning things, and make sure you've got things like every week you've got a couple of things that you know you're going to do with friends, or anything really, just to get yourself like out of the house and with your friends and actually doing things and like making the most of your time at uni and in this new amazing city. Someone said, how do university lectures differ from the classroom, and what's the difference about the relationship you have with lecturers compared to teachers? That's one thing I do miss about school, is the relationship that you had to teachers and like sixth form and stuff. I loved being in sixth form and school. Like, now I look back on it, when I was there I just wanted to get out straight away, but now I look back, I do miss it because the relationship you had with teachers was really great, and like you were close to them, you could go to them about anything. Whereas lecturers, when I was on the first course that I did, if you don't watch my channel normally, the first course that I did was fashion buying and merchandising and MMU. So I did fashion buying and merchandising and then I moved to business management. On fashion buying and merchandising, I really felt as though the tutors didn't even know my name. I really felt like towards the end of the year when I was moving course, no one really cared. No one really tried to keep me on the course because everyone was kind of like, they didn't really like know individual students, and I really didn't like that. This year it's been a little bit better. I felt like the tutorial groups and the seminar groups have been slightly smaller, and they've kind of got to know people a little bit better. I don't know, it's personally because I've been more invested in the course as well, that I want to like know more and go to more things or anything like that. But I feel like lecturers and like tutors have been a lot better, but they're still not the same as school. The difference like of lectures to the classroom, they are a lot different. It's a completely different way of learning. Lectures, like when you're in a big room with a lot of people and there's just a lecturer speaking at the front, they're a lot different to school. You just have to sit and kind of listen. Sometimes there'll be like tasks, and sometimes they'll ask like for people's opinion, to put your hand up or anything like that. And sometimes be more interactive, but other times it will literally just be, right, this is what we're going to do, like jot notes down kind of thing. Whereas in seminars and tutorials it's a lot more similar to being at school and in a classroom, because it's a smaller group of people and there's just like one like teacher slash like tutor slash lecturer, and they kind of just chat to everybody, and it's all kind of like a more friendly atmosphere, and everybody kind of like just tasks and stuff together, and so it's a lot more classroom friendly. Someone asked, did you get on with everybody in your halls? In my flat we all got on. There was arguments, there always is arguments, like you're living with people you've never lived with before, everybody comes from different backgrounds. Like there is always going to be a few arguments, but on the whole we all really got on. And this year I'd really like to see more of the people that I lived with in first year. Kind of like last year we kind of like lost contact, and I saw one of my flatmates right at the end of the year and I just bumped into her in like a club type place, and I don't know, it was just so nice just to catch up, so I really want to make sure that I spend more time with them this year. Someone's asked, what was Freshers Week like for you? Freshers Week was amazing, I loved it. Last year's Freshers Week wasn't as good, just for different reasons. I don't know, it just weren't great at all, but yeah, it's kind of a funny reason. But this year I'm gonna make it great. But first year's Freshers was so good, like it was just the best week, because like you just didn't really know what you were doing, nobody really knew what they were doing, like you're in this new city with these new people in this new flat, and it's like a whole different chapter of your life, and it's just so exciting. Like I just absolutely loved it. I've just adjusted the lighting because it was a little bit bright, so I hope that's a little bit better. Someone's asked, what's your best tip in making friends in your uni halls? I would say one of my best tips would be to get a doorstop. Someone said what are the best things to take with you. I'd definitely say a doorstop, because even though they say don't like leave the doors open because they're fire doors or blah blah blah, it's really good to bring a doorstop, because you can like leave your door open, and then when everybody's coming in and like moving to the flat, your door's open, so people can be like, oh my god, hi, I'm blah blah blah, and so you can sit and chat. If someone's got a door closed, you're not really going to go knock on the door. When I moved into my halls, nobody else had moved in yet. So I went round, we were like, oh, I wonder if people have moved in. Like, if that person had like, somebody might have moved in, but had their door closed, and I wouldn't have even known because they didn't have their door open. So I just keep your, like, get a door stop, keep your door open, especially for the first couple of weeks. I had one of those ones, like, with the beans in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the heavy ones, like the dog. It was like a little dog with, like, loads of beans in it. I had one of those to keep the door open because they are fire doors, so they will be, like, quite heavy in halls. But yeah, that's one of my main tips, to keep your door open. And just be smiley and friendly. One of my things would be to don't judge people. I just think you're going to meet so many different people from so many different places all over the world, from different backgrounds. Everybody's going to have different opinions. People are going to like be different to what you've known at school and sixth form, and so just keep an open mind and just be smiley and happy and approachable. And also, one last tip for freshers and to make friends would be open. Like, sometimes I don't like doing certain things. I'm not really a sporty person, but say in freshers there was like a sport event or something that everybody in my flat was going to, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go along. Like, yeah, I might not stand there and do loads of sport, but it's just good to go along so that you're kind of like there and you're making an effort with people, even though it's not really your thing. A couple of people have asked if I recommend buying freshers tickets in advance. I did do that, especially in first year. In first year I bought a freshers band, like a freshers wristband for MMU Student Union, which is obviously the uni that I was going to, and that was about £40. I wouldn't buy that again, just because those events weren't the most popular events, and also you could buy tickets on the door for those events. The ones that I also bought tickets for and I would recommend buying for, if you are in Manchester for example, there's 3 unis in Manchester, so there's a lot of students. There is a lot of students buying freshers tickets, and especially at clubs. Someone said they were worried about buying tickets for the wrong uni's event in Manchester. You can't do that. The only like events that would be for a certain uni would be with a freshers wristband, and for us when we did the MMU ones, we had to like put in all of our student details and all that kind of stuff, like to get a wristband. So you wouldn't be able to buy one for like Salford if you were at uni of Manchester, for example, so don't worry about that. But the majority of club events were the best events I went to, both first year and last year. The Big Freshers Icebreaker was literally my favourite event. I ticket sold for it last year and I'm really tempted to do it this year as well because that was really fun. Yeah, it was a really good event. I loved it in first year. It was like the best event of the week, and then last year it was really good too. And it was at Tiger as well, which is one of my favourite clubs in Manchester when it's really full and when it's really busy. A lot of people don't like it because sometimes it's quite quiet and can be a bit boring, but when it's busy at that kind of event, it is really good. And then there was also events like Super Fresh, and there was another event as well, a different club, I can't remember what that one was. It's like a zoo party or something. But those kind of events do sell out, especially if you're in a big city, like if you're in London or Manchester or Birmingham, they're gonna sell out, those kind of events. The Icebreaker one didn't sell out straight away like as soon as Freshers started, but on the day of the event it sold out. And I remember, because I was ticket selling for it, people were messaging like, oh my god, can I get a ticket? And there wasn't any left, and people hadn't bought them beforehand. So I just say, to be safe, if you're going to uni for the first time, I would say buy tickets. I also bought mine because I didn't want to be left out. I didn't want to get to uni and then like everybody have tickets and me be like, oh my god, I'm not going to have any tickets. I can't get anywhere with anyone. Someone has asked, how do you manage to keep up with budgeting while still being able to afford to buy nice things for yourself and keep a car? The car thing, I don't really feel as though it has that much cost for me at uni. I generally don't drive that much at uni. When I do, it's only like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to uni for me from my house, more like 10. So that's not much petrol anyway. And then when I get to uni, I pay for parking. Last year, I only had 2 days in at uni, so I'd pay for parking those 2 days, and then that was it. When I was in Freshers, I had to pay for a car parking space at my halls, so that was frustrating, but that was done like way in advance, like when I like booked my accommodation. So that was in like, I don't know, the August time, I think, when you get your results and stuff like that. So that really wasn't a cost for me throughout the year. That was just with student finance, so that was absolutely fine. But generally, yeah, like I feel like the cost of a car, personally for me, doesn't impact me that much at uni, because the petrol is actually cheaper as well in Manchester, but that's not the main reason. I just don't drive that much, like, and if I'm going to drive somewhere, it's normally like with friends or something, and I just don't feel like the petrol is that much. Like, I don't feel like that's much of an impact. Personally for me, there is an amount in my bank account that I do not like to go under. Quite obviously, I'm not going to turn around and tell you what that amount is because everybody's different with money. But there's an amount in my bank account I don't like to go under, and if I go under that, I know that I shouldn't be spending any more money. So if I'm at a nice amount in my bank account, I'll go and buy things for myself. But as soon as I get to the point where I think, oh, I might be going under that in the next couple of weeks, obviously it's not the worst thing if I go under it, but I don't want to be like £200 under it, because then obviously that's not a good situation for me to be in. And obviously then the next month, then I'll be worse off in the next month. So I just try and get to an amount, and then if I'm close to that amount, I'll be like, okay, I just won't get that takeaway with Bradley, or we won't go for that meal, or I won't buy that pair of trousers in Topshop that I want this month. Like, it's just that kind of thing, and that's how I tend to budget. Everybody's different with money, but I do think you've got to be slightly conscious, especially the first time that you move out, which will probably be when you're going to uni. A lot of people, when they're going to uni, it's the first time they've ever moved out of home, and the first time you've got to deal with like all of the money. So that's one thing I definitely would say. I definitely say give yourself the responsibility though to do the budgeting and stuff like that. I know some of my friends, like, their parents had that responsibility, whereas I just think it's good to have it yourself. Like, it's your money at the end of the day, and I think it's good to be able to do that yourself and learn how to manage that. Someone said, how do you make quick notes in lectures? I didn't. I'm really not very good at that. I've now been at uni for 2 years and I'm awful at making quick notes in lectures. I just, like, after the lecture, I will just continue writing up the notes that are online. So I'm horrendous at doing that. So if you have any tips, let me know, because I'm not very good. Someone said, I'm looking at MMU to do business. How do you find the university for the course criteria, etc.? If there is anything you don't like about the university for the chosen course. I think this will say is. No, I love MMU, like literally down to the ground, love MMU. Like, it's just the best uni, I love it. I think everybody feels like that though about their own university, but I love MMU. I've got no complaints with the uni at all. The course, again, not really any complaints. There's one unit that I didn't like last year. I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't an enjoyable unit, but that was just me. There was people that I was friends with that loved the unit. It was just personally, like, I'm not really like that much of a creative person. I know, like, obviously I do YouTube videos and stuff like that. This side, I am creative. I'm not creative in thinking way. Like, I'm not very good at being innovative or anything like that. And the whole unit was based around that, and I didn't enjoy that. But overall, I would really recommend MMU. I just think it's a fab university. As I say, everybody's going to say that about their own uni. One thing I will say, because a lot of people have asked, like, how do you pick a university for you? Like, how do you know which course to go with? How do you know which uni to pick? One thing I would personally say is look at the location a lot. That is somewhere you're going to have to live for the next 3 or 4 years, and it's really important to look at that. I was thinking the other day, and if MMU and my flat and the people that I'm friends with and everything would have been plonked in my hometown, so in a countryside town, I would have hated it. I would have absolutely hated uni. Living in Manchester has been one of the best parts about going to uni and being able to move there. I find it an amazing city. I love it. There's so much going on there. It's always so buzzing, and I just love the place. So I think you've really got to look at the location. And when I went to uni, my second choice was Nottingham-Trent. I actually don't like Nottingham. No offence to anybody that like lives in Nottingham or goes to uni there. A lot of my friends go to uni there, and also Broccoli works there. So literally I have no offence towards Nottingham, but personally for me, it's not somewhere I really like. I much prefer Manchester. Obviously Manchester was my first choice, but Nottingham was my second, and I did nearly go to Nottingham mainly because of the course and the uni. And really I feel like if I would have gone, it would have been quite a big mistake, and I don't think I would have realised, but I wouldn't have had that experience in Manchester. And as I say, it's one of the reasons I love my university experience is because of the location. So it's definitely something I'd really consider when you're looking at unis. Someone said, would it be a good idea to just take the essential stuff to uni, like duvet pillows and some kitchen stuff, and then buy other stuff when you're there? That makes me panic. Like, it makes me very anxious to think to do that, but I am a planner. I like to buy everything and have everything sorted and have it all planned in my mind as to what my room's gonna look like and everything. If you're not like that and you're much more of like we'll just see how it goes person, then that's absolutely great and you can do that. Personally for me, I needed everything. When I got to my freshers flat, like when I got in first year, there was a couple of things I needed, like a little rug I wanted because I had like a horrible green carpet, like a little rug, a bin I'd forgotten because I just assumed you got one for some reason. I'd forgotten a bin, and bear in mind I was very, very prepared. Forgotten a bin. What else did I forgot? Like not much, but like just a couple of bits and bobs. There was some storage boxes and stuff like that. So my dad and my stepmom and my brother all went out to IKEA while me and my mum were like decorating my room. So like they all went out to IKEA and got me a few bits and bobs. That made me quite stressed though, just from going and getting those few little bits. So it depends what kind of a person you are. Personally, for me, I wanted my room to be so homely and just very me and just really, really nice for myself. So I wanted to get everything before I went. If you're not that bothered, then don't bother spending tons of money on it. Whereas for me, it was really important. So it's each to their own. Someone said, did uni league tables play a part in choosing MMU? No, not at all. I did look at them. But there was no way, like, as I said with the location, that is my main thing. Like, if you're going to uni, I think that's one of the main things you need to think about. So I'm not going to be like, oh, that uni down in, I don't know, Surrey is, like, second for my course, but MMU's, like, 50th. So I'm not going to go here even though I love the uni. Like, obviously it's different for everybody. It's different for what course you're going to do. It's different for what you want in life. Personally, for me, it wasn't something that played on my mind. I did look before I went, but I do think it's slightly more pushed when you're in sixth form and stuff. It's like to look at university league tables, it's really important, all that kind of stuff. It was like, oh my god, has your uni gone up or down? Like, it really doesn't matter once you're there. Like, I've never ever been asked while I'm at MMU, like, oh my god, what place is your uni in the uni league tables? No one's ever asked me that since I got to uni, so really it's not that big of a deal at all. You're never going to go to a job interview and they're going to be like, oh well, your uni's 27th and the girl's uni that's come earlier was 25th, so she's getting the job. Like, it's just not going to happen like that. So yeah, don't panic too much unless you're going to like Oxford or Cambridge or a Russell group. Then yeah, I wouldn't panic. Someone said, do people actually go to the SU club and bar? Which made me laugh. In first year for us, our SU was really small, like it was really not great. They've made a bigger one now at MMU, and there just isn't much going on there. Like, it's really nice to go to the bar there, it's really cheap and it's really nice food. So occasionally we go there when we're at uni, like for lunch and stuff like that. And I would go for dinner, I would go for a drink, I'd go for anything like that. But I don't really go on a club night. I've been once and that was in freshers last year. But yeah, if you're part of a sports team or society, like if you're part of a society or anything like that, then you will probably go, because they have like nights out and stuff, and most of the sports teams go to the SU, and it's just a lot more exciting. Like I really wish I liked sport at uni, because it's a really big part of uni. Obviously I don't do it, like I'm not part of a sports team, so, and I have a great uni experience, but I think if you can be part of a sports team, I'd really recommend it. It's a really good way to make friends. One of the girls I was friends with in first year, she joined the hockey team, and she wasn't the best at hockey ever. Like she wasn't the greatest person at hockey, she knew that. Like she didn't go to be like the team captain, but she made such good friends on there, and like they had really good nights out and stuff, and I kind of wish that I would have been part of something like that, but I just hate sports. It's just not something that I was going to do. I can't find the question now, but I know definitely someone asked how much did I spend in freshers. I think I spent around £500 or £600. That is pretty average, I'm pretty sure. When we, like after freshers, I remember being in a lecture, and the lecturer saying like, how much did you all spend? And so we all spent like over £1.5 grand, which is literally insane. Like how you can possibly do that, I do not know, that is mental. But I spent like around £500, £600 I think. I just think because you're doing so much stuff, like you're going out every night practically. And that was with me buying tickets before I went. I think because like you're just buying so much alcohol, you're buying so many drinks in the clubs, and like you're just doing so much. Like the next day you'd order pizza at like 11 o'clock in the morning, like, and you could go for lunch all the time, and I just did so much in freshers. So yeah, I would make sure you got a little bit of money behind you. I know one girl, I've just read her question, said that she's not going to get student finance till after like freshers, which is really bad. I actually was told a couple of weeks ago that if you want your student finance earlier, you can ring up and ask with a valid reason. Like if you say that your freshers is before that, they may be able to give it you. So yeah, give that a go. I was told that a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know if it's completely true, but yeah, someone like that's quite reliable in my life told me that. But yeah, I'd say I spent around like £500, £600, but that was like without budgeting. Like I didn't really budget for what I was spending. And the last question I'm going to answer is, what would you do food wise? Would you shop weekly, and what kind of things would you buy, being on a budget and stuff? This is the one thing at uni I don't like scrape on. Like I will buy food that I like. One thing for me that is comforting, and a lot of people, is food. I like my food. I like to eat nice things. I think the majority of people do. I really couldn't live on pasta. Everybody is different. Like a lot of people will just go and spend like tons on alcohol. I can drink Glen's vodka. I don't need to spend tons on alcohol. And when I go out on a night out, I can spend like £10. Like I can literally just pre-drink a lot, go out, get entry into a club and buy one drink and then get a taxi home. Like I can spend like 10, 20 quid on a night out and no more. I very rarely spend over 30 quid on a night out. So I don't spend that much that way. Even if I go out a lot, I don't spend that much. Whereas food, I do shop at Aldi, so I do go like and try and budget in that way. But when I'm going around, like I never try to pick cheaper things. I will pick fresh fruit, like it's one of the things I really like, so I will eat that. Meat, I really like meat, so I'll eat quite a lot of meat. Like cheese, just all the things that I would normally eat at home, I eat at uni. And one thing in first year was, that was kind of like, if I would have had to just live on food that I wouldn't have eaten at home, I think it would have made first year a lot more difficult for me, because it kind of would have been like, oh, I miss mum's cooking, or oh, I miss when we did that at home, or this, that and whatever. Whereas at uni I kind of ate the same, or like whatever I wanted to, so it was nice for me. Like it was just a nice comfort almost. So I'd just say like it's one thing I didn't scrape on. But as I said, I did shop in Aldi this year anyway. The year before I shopped at Asda because it was the nearest supermarket, and the nearest Aldi was at a really inconvenient location. I do shop weekly though, and I would say to do that. I'd also say to write a list. I think that's one of the top tips for food shopping, if you've never done food shopping before, is to just bring a list. If you go in with no idea of what you're going to buy, you will literally buy everything, or you'll just buy the most random things because you're like, oh, I have that as a snack, and you won't buy any like meals. So that is the end of my uni Q&A. I had a ridiculous amount of questions. I had like 86 questions, so I'm really sorry that I didn't answer all of them. I will be doing another uni Q&A, so if your question didn't get answered in this video, be sure to keep looking on my Instagram, and if I do another one, which I should do before uni starts again, then just pop your comment on there. I will try and leave all of my uni videos down below in a list. If you want to go and check those out, if you're going to uni this year and you just want to go and watch loads loads of uni videos, then they will be linked down below. If there is any other uni videos that you would like to see from me, please leave them in a comment down below. Make sure you check the down bar though of all the ones I've already done, so you don't ask for the same videos. But yeah, if there's anything you'd like to see before uni start again, then please let me know. I'm really excited to go back to Manchester and start uni again for my 3rd year, but my 2nd year. And yeah, I'm just really excited to not do 1st year again. So yeah, let me know anything that you want to see on my channel, uni wise or non-uni wise, whatever you fancy. And yeah, I will speak to you guys next time. Bye!